What if the body is the portal to the naked soul? Welcome to this moment. My name is Mina Tejero, and I'm the founder of the Florrest Retreat Venue. And today I'm with,
Christina Della Iacono,
yeah,
uh, Curandera Pleasure Priestess.
hi, yeah, we're in the right place today. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to be here with you. I just love how you're sharing your joy and your magic. And our audience today is in for a treat because, we're a break from the chaos and the struggles of the world, and really, that curandera and bliss priestess, just coming straight to you. It was such a pleasure to meet you through your collaboration on your retreat at the Florist. But I want people to dive in and get to know you first because it's been such a pleasure to follow you and watch just how you show up so much in your body, in your joy. And I want people to receive your codes right now. And so tell me, were you always this joyful, or was there a journey? Like, what got you into having this freedom to show up in your body? And like, I'm in this space where I can really perceive the sacredness and beauty of what you're sharing. It's not the typical it's not a naive joy. It's a deep rooted joy. It's also your movement is so pure and sensual. It's not a provocation. It's just a celebration of who you are. And so that's why I'm so excited to be on this call today here with you. And yeah, to hear about your journey, because I really don't know what led you to this moment. So yeah, get us started.
Yeah, I'd love to speak to that. So, in short, no, I was not always this joyful. I was not always brimming with this bliss. Um, I actually grew up feeling very disconnected from myself as a child, even. I never resonated. You know how a lot of people are like, yeah, when I was a child, I was so joyous, and then I lost that into adulthood. My journey was the opposite. I felt very disconnected and dimmed down as a child. And when I was about 10 years old, there was a moment where I remember the day. It was raining. I was in my mom's minivan. I was in the back seat looking out the window, and the rain was pattering on the window. And I felt this like cloud of darkness just come over me energetically. I didn't have words for that at the time, but it felt like a literal cloud came over me. And I just sank into a deep depression. I felt completely hopeless, apathetic, um, and was honestly in a really tortured space and mind until my late teens, maybe 19, I started to try to move out of that. Um, and I finally broke free of that in my mid 20s. It was about age 24 after I'd, done some work actively trying to like myself and love myself. I was in a lot of self-loathing. I was nihilistic. I didn't have a lot of hope in the world. I thought that we lived in a deterministic universe and we didn't have free will, and love was just a chemical cocktail in the brain and none of it matters. And when we die, we're gone forever. And, you can imagine it's a pretty depressing mindset.
Mhm. And I love that you're sharing this because I think so many people nowadays can relate to this, like the chaos in the world, the uncertainty, the weak leadership that we have. These are like tantrums, watching kindergarten, but at the top positions of leadership in the world. And so also this division with politics and religion and even the gender dynamics. So I love that this is, you're showing us where you started and how you really felt this. So from a space of like, this was real for you. This is what you were experiencing. And so at around 24, you say you broke free. So like,
Yes.
what was it like if you can give people hope, like what is it that like out of like that misery pitless
Hmm.
situation, like how do you even start to break through? What has to happen?
Yeah, yeah. So that was my journey of coming back home to my body and really being in my body. So again, I felt very disconnected intuitively, psychically as a child. And with that, I was also extremely disconnected from my body. I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. Good old Las Vegas, Nevada, which, it's called Sin City for a reason. And there's a lot of superficiality, materialism. I was always wearing shoes. It was the desert. The sidewalk was hot. I was literally very rarely in contact with the earth, if ever. I don't think I was barefoot in nature until I was a late teenager. Perhaps. I mean, sometimes we'd go to the beach on a family vacation. That was probably it. My once a year contact with Mother Earth in that way. Other times I was wearing rubber soles and shoes and disconnected. Um, so there was this disconnection at all levels, right? From my psyche, my intuition, from nature, from my body. And what really flipped things for me was I came home to the body first and foremost because I started reading the book Women Who Run with the Wolves. It's a very well-known book by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And there was a chapter about life, death, life cycles. And she was speaking to honoring death. And she didn't just mean literal death and decay, she meant like the muck of life, the density, the heaviness, the ickiness. In my case, the depression, the anxiety, all of the to rather than ostracize it and turn away and call it bad, to turn towards it and honor it, to honor it. And I read that and I realized that in my severe depression, anxiety, self-loathing, I was always trying to escape myself. I wanted it to go away as quickly as possible. And ironically, that's what was making it persist because I was just trying to get out, get away from me. I was trying to get away from me. No wonder I was so disconnected from my soul. I was literally trying to escape me in that self-loathing and in the pain and the torture that I was feeling internally, my own internal hell constantly. And so I decided to turn towards death. And that death was all that was going on inside me. And I literally laid in bed for a couple weeks. And rather than turning my face away, I imagined that all of that density, I invited it into a field and I handed it a cup of tea. And I was like, I will just be here with you as long as you wish. Be here as long as you wish. And for the first time, I wasn't trying to escape my depression. I was just loving it as it was. And what happened was it put me in this position of needing to then dive into my body because to be with that depression and the pain, I had to go into the visceral sensations that I was feeling in my body. I had to go into my aching chest, my aching heart. I had to go into my palms clenching. I had to go into the visceral sensation because I wasn't turning away. I wasn't distracting or numbing myself anymore. So it required a full body sensorial presence that I had never allowed myself to be in before. And that's what I refer to as sensuality. Sensuality is literally just full body presence with your senses. And as I went on this multi-week journey of this like death cocoon of just loving what was there, I get chills when I think of it because there was a moment. It was a specific moment when I was laying in my bed and all the feelings and all the guck just turning my loving face over and over again towards all of it. And it was like there was a moment
I felt that.
where I finally got to the seed at the very center of the sensation. And we label sensations as good or bad or ugly or pleasant, but it's just the sensation itself. And when you actually go into the center of any sensation, the only thing there is bliss. And this is not a new concept. You look into any esoteric tradition, the tantras, the Taoist sacred sects, the yogis, the Egyptian temples, Hathorian, Isis temples, the high initiates of those temples, they have all converged on the same truth. The nature of consciousness is bliss. And I'm very much I consider myself a rose lineage priestess. The rose lineage is that line of Mother Mary, Isis, Hathor, Magdalene. And what the rose lineage really stands for and holds as a frequency is the remembrance that the body, this physicality here, is the gateway to that truth. And we don't get there by running away from and escaping the human experience and the viscerality of this. We arrive, we come home by going in to the body and fully feeling everything. Not the gratifying parts, not the pleasurable, pleasant parts. The irony is once you get really skilled at just allowing what is and always going into the center of the sensation, you always ultimately arrive at pleasure, no matter how initially unpleasurable the sensation was. And when I arrived at this, as my mode of being, I was free. And
Absolutely.
this, yeah, and that's our birthright is to be free in the bliss that is the nature of our consciousness. And we get there through being in the body and feeling. And I'm so grateful that my journey was not to read about this in books and then to aspire to it. I had the direct experience of it through reading that book and being in my bed for those couple weeks. So then when I came across writings later on, it was just validating what I had already experienced directly. So I had that felt knowing, and then it was just like, oh, okay, this is a real thing. This is a phenomenon. Like this is what our birthright is, what we all arrive to.
Like
And
I, you
mhm.
shared so much. Like I have so much to share. And like
Go ahead, go
I didn't want
ahead.
to interrupt you, and you kept going, and it's like so rich in everything you shared in your personal journey. When you're saying you're in bed for 2 weeks, it's like I imagine the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi. It's like I'm not going anywhere until I figure this out. Just sitting there allowing it. The other thing that really resonated for me when you're saying pleasures are truth, and what that really sparked for me is the thought sometimes we have the thought that in the spectrum of like the duality of this world, there's pleasure and there's pain, there's good and there's bad. And so pleasure can also be seen as something like, wait, don't attach to pleasure. right? Because that's a polarity, right? And so what I just love about what you said is like, honor the pain, honor whatever is, but it's always going to lead you home into that pleasure and the bliss and the vibration of our true nature. So like that just opened up something for me in my brain, right? Because there's yeah, and I'm just oof, I just feel it in my body. My body's receiving that medicine and that code that you just shared, because there was a part of my brain that was a little hesitant to lean into pleasure because it's a polarity, but it's not about it's the paradox. You're not searching for the pleasure, you're just honoring what is, and then you get to the pleasure, right? It's like life. Don't aim to be happy because you're going to be miserable, but aim to live a fulfilled life and an honest and authentic life, and then you will be happy. And so I see this paradox here so beautifully in what you shared. And the thing about escaping ourselves and even afraid of dying, not even celebrating the nature of this life, which begins and ends, and denying that, denying who we are, escaping this moment. And I wanted to share with you, I experienced this very powerful um, practice like 12 years ago of digging my own grave. And in the middle of the night under a full moon, being covered by the dirt and being in that space of death. And really coming to terms with those energies was like, I couldn't escape from them. And like, what? Like, no, I'll die if this energy is in my field forever. No, no, no. And and then the thought was like, okay, I'll die to this energy. I'll just let, and so I was with it and I let it die. So I presence, because everything is temporary in this experience of life. I'm like, okay, I'll be present with you until you die. And I'm going to honor and just be with that process until it dies. And then I could feel boom, boom, boom. Like I felt the pulse of Mother Earth. And so I was dying to the concepts of the mother and this dimension and of the nurturing and the support that felt distorted. And then I was being rebirthed into the connecting to the womb of the mother, of Mother Earth, of the cosmic womb. And so, like, as you were speaking, I could relate, and like it was awakening those experiences for me. So, oh, how beautiful. Like the sensuality is not a provocation. It's not like, it's not pornography. It's none of the sensuality is being with our senses. So, can you guide us right now through like a sensual practice?
Yes, yes, I'd love to.
Whether
I'd love to.
tap into your magic right now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start by just finding a comfortable seated position and placing a hand on the heart and a hand on the lower belly womb space. Just taking a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And continuing to breathe slowly and deeply on your own rhythm, your own timing, and just noticing the subtle sensation of the air as it moves past your nostrils, past your lips, past your teeth, tongue. Noticing the subtlety of the sound of your breath. Noticing the subtlety of the heartbeat, of the blood rushing through the body. Bringing your awareness just underneath the skin, all along your body, just noticing as you focus just beneath your skin. What sensations are there? Tingling, pulses, waves, tickles, warmth, coolness. Softening your belly and allowing the breath to move even more deeply into your pelvic bowl. Allowing the breath to move all the way down into the hip bones, imagining the bones expanding with your inhale and relaxing with the exhale. Imagining as you breathe on your own rhythm, all of the bones, the spaces between expanding, with your breath opening like a balloon before relaxing. With your exhale, zooming into the spaces between the joints, the cartilage, the muscle, zooming your awareness in to the spaciousness. Allowing it to open that much more deeply as you soften your belly again. And from this space of stillness, allowing your hands to rise up, taking the fingertips and delicately tracing them over the face. Tracing your fingertips over the forehead, the eyebrows, slowly caressing down the temples onto the cheekbones. Softly caressing the fingertips down the cheeks to the chin, the jaw. Deepening the breath. Feeling over the bridge of the nose, the nostrils. And allowing your fingertips to trace over your lips very softly. And as you trace your lips, imagining moving from the awareness of your fingertips and what they're feeling, and the awareness of your lips and what they're feeling, flipping between that which is touching and that which is being touched. Just noticing. Allowing the belly to soften, deepening the breath. And continuing to move the fingertips all around the face. Noticing the the sensation of the touch as it caresses the skin. Allowing the hands to float down over the throat space, delicately caressing the throat, the voice. And as you do this, gently speaking aloud, I love you voice. I love you voice. I love you voice. Delicately tracing your fingertips down to the chest, rubbing them over the heart space. Softly speaking aloud, I love you, heart. I love you, heart. I love you, heart. Delicately tracing your fingertips down to the womb space, rubbing the fullness of your lower belly, rubbing with the fullness of your palm, feeling the warmth that generated as you slowly caress back and forth along your belly and speaking aloud, I love you, womb. I love you, womb. I love you, womb. Deepening the breath and squeezing the arms, squeezing all the way up to your shoulders. Gently, slowly, and saying aloud, I love you, body. I love you, body. I love you, body. And caressing one palm to your heart, the other palm resting on your womb space, feeling the gentle warmth, the gentle pressure of your palm on your heart and womb, taking a deep cleansing breath through the palms. Allowing the hands to rest down in a comfortable position. Zooming your awareness just underneath the skin. Noticing the subtle energy. Pulses, tingles, waves. And from this space, very slowly, very gently, opening your eyes and noticing the colors. Very slowly moving your head so that you can look all around you. Very slowly. Deep breath as you take in all the colors, all the textures. Maybe it looks a little brighter, the colors a little more saturated. And arriving to the center. Wiggling your fingers, your toes, offering a gentle stretch. Going all the way back. So that's a very short, sweet little sensuality practice.
Um, I'm sure everyone enjoyed that so much. I'm feeling so like alive and just you guided in spaces. Like I'm not sure I was ever in like the joints, like present in my joints or just under my skin. I felt like you guided me to spaces, like actually literally, even though I've done so much meditation stuff, like you guided me to spaces where I hadn't been before. So, so yummy. Thank you for that. Like, just I can feel your like your love, your gentleness, like how yummy it is to be held with so much love, and presence. So
Yeah.
like I love that. And what came through when you were sharing is that your soul was ready to leave from this space, right? Because for you to be able to spend 2 weeks in bed, like feeling it all, your soul was had already the nervous system calibration to be able to process all that, right? So you're a leader of this. Like you found your gift. You found what you're here to share with all of us in your codes, and I'm so grateful for that.
Thank you, thank you. And that's really, I love that you spoke to just that pouring of the love and the gentleness, because when we pour that genuine presence and sweetness and love into the body, it opens. And when it opens, only bliss is there. And that's the truth. It's so simple.
Also, like, how can we get more of this, right? So how can they get more of this? Can you share about
Yeah, more of this. Yes. I mean, we'll be doing very in-depth somatic processes in the retreat, a lot with the breath, with the movement, sensual movement, slow, luscious, really falling in love with your body, appreciating it, pouring gratitude onto it, all that yumminess. And it's amplified, right, when you're immersed in nature and in a group of like-hearted women. And so the retreat, we're going to dive really deep into having you be able to viscerally feel this truth. Because it's one thing for me to say it and for you to conceptualize it. And it's a whole other thing to have a direct, visceral, somatic experience. Because when you have that, then you know. Then you're not taking anyone's word for it. And that's really, my mission is to create spaces in which you are experiencing it directly in your body, because then you know.
an embodied experience that you take away? Like it's
Right.
download the code,
Right. And then you can anchor it for others.
and you can ripple.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
beautiful.
So the retreat and beyond that, I have programs that I run a couple times a year. Erotic Innocence Container is all about pouring a lot of love into the womb, the yoni space, the breast, more of the intimate body. And I also do an Awakening Joy in Your Body program where we dive deep into the voice, the heart, and the womb, because those three centers are really integral, especially in the woman, to really wake up to this codex and feel it viscerally, consistently in your day-to-day life. When you open those three centers, this just becomes your abiding reality. Um, so yeah, and then I've got ceremonies if you're in the Atlanta area and want to drink some cacao and dance and play and
Yeah, yeah.
sing. Yeah.
I love how you're living your mission. And, at one point you weren't. At one point you were in the density, in the depression. And the moment arose where you were invited, through a book, right? Through a book to lean in and experience the bliss that we are always and here and now. And I truly hope that this portal right here with everybody listening and you sharing with us so beautifully is that trigger point, is that moment of the before and the after, which brings you into the now, right? Into this now of the answers and living the light and the life with that expression, the heart, the creation. as creatresses as well. So, well, we're going to add all your contact information here. I can't wait to have you at the Florrest and to share with you guys and support you to create this magical ripple. I'm so passionate about bringing leaders that really embody the work, that are safe, that are leaders that really want their group, their audience to really grow into their maximum capacity, no glass ceilings here, and just to really activate their own gifts, because it's in community that we activate each other. And then once we share, that we activate the other ripples back to us. And oh, it's just this beautiful cascade. I see it almost like waterfalls all pouring into the same hole, and we're enriched in that vibrancy of all this mix of magic coming together. And so thank you so much for joining us here today, for sharing your story and guiding us through this beautiful practice of being more connected to our bodies. Yeah, any last comment you'd like to share with us or thoughts?
Just that, nothing external needs to change. You can access that bliss right now, and it's through the body that you are able to do so the most directly.
Oh, amazing, amazing, beautiful wisdom to leave us with today. And thank you all. Thank you so much, Christina. And thank you, everybody who joined us here today. And stay connected. We're so happy to have you in this community. Much love.
Thank you.